Now you're looking at this and probably wondering how we got here. Well, the only way to find out is to tune in to both episodes of this podcast with Norian Love.
Something about it, though. Tell me
Tell me
why.
why. Is it
Why?
so? Come on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mic'd Up Podcast. My name is Kaya. I am an author, an entrepreneur, and a podcast host. And today I am so excited to sit down for the second time with Mr. Norian Love. How are you feeling today?
I am feeling really good to be here. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How's it feel to be in the hot seat for the second time?
Well, it was warmer or it was lukewarm before now, but now that it's real, I probably probably should have done some things differently, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. No, I got you. You'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to start in by reading your bio and we're going to get into the questions. So here we go. Norian Love is a best-selling author, screenwriter, songwriter, and poet whose character-rich storytelling and creative world building is swiftly setting him apart as one of the top writers in the Black romance genre. Penning the hashtag Black Love Matters, Norian has been garnering accolades for his work from his reviewers, fans, peers, book clubs, and several podcasts. His books are sold worldwide and are published in print, ebook, and audio formats. When Norian is not crafting his next bestseller, he is an avid listener of music and gives much of his creative inspirations to artists like Missy Elliott, Lil Kim, and Sexy Red. On most days, you can find him listening to who he calls the best band of all time, the Jackson 5. Very nice bio. You good?
That was incredible.
Great.
That was yes. I sexy red, huh? Okay, yes. I I see what you're doing, and I am not going to take the bait because you know.
I don't, is everything
Let me
okay?
just say this one thing. Let me.
Is everything
I said, yeah, everything's fine. I want
okay?
to say this one thing. Um, Anyone who's listening, that's what we call a joke. Carry on. I'm not gonna. I'm not taking the bait.
Okay, I
That's,
will
that's
say that the last part of that bio I embellished just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, I embellished it a little bit. All right,
a
so
lot of it. Just a little bit.
just a
Just a
little
little.
bit. Just a little
Okay.
bit. All right. So since this is your second time on the podcast, our discussion is going to be a little bit different.
Wow.
We are going to, sir, you okay?
I'm okay. I just had to get over the whole. That was well played. That was well played. Well played. Carry
Okay.
on. Let's see where
Um,
we are. I see
yeah,
what time it is.
all right. So we're going to have a little bit of a different discussion. We will be talking about your book, Autumn, um, and one of the aliases you write under T.L. Johnson. But I thought it would be a great idea to have a discussion about what you did this past summer, as far as going to rather a lot of in-person author events. I thought you would be a great person to have that conversation with because you attended a lot, and I think you can, give us some insight on what it's like to attend and things of that nature. So, my very first question I have for you is so this past summer, you did a lot of in-person events, including Indie Love, One Love Reunion Book Tour, Steamy Lit Con, and the Boozy Book Tour, to name a few. Do you feel these types of events are important to the literary community?
Oh, absolutely. I'm also going to add girlfriends and filtered loving books because all of these are integral. Like it's important to connect with people, especially if you're on an indie journey, but even if you're on a published journey, I think it's important to connect with um, the people who are supporting you, the people who read, the people who you haven't met yet that you can convert into a fan. This is an opportunity for you in each one of those things, no matter how big or small you are, to build an audience real time. And so I don't think that you should ever, 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 in my opinion, take those things for granted. When you get the opportunity and the privilege to, frequent to be a author at one of them, but even as a reader, right? Because,
Hmm.
excuse me, there's a lot of times where you know your appetite for literature is ever growing, and so you want to meet new people. So there's always the new to me author, and so um, yeah, I think that like it's a perfect marriage in our culture to be a staple, hopefully, because I think that like it does really, really good things. And again, shout out to all those events, man, because like I had a phenomenal time at each and every one. Unique experiences at each and every one that made them distinctly like special. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, good. So the whole list of the events you attended are on your IG page, and I will link that in the description box below, if anyone is interested. So my next question is, when you first began attending these events, did you find the atmosphere to be a little overwhelming initially?
No, only because I've been doing events for a minute. Like this was just the first time, maybe the second time that I've said, let me string together like, a series of events, But like I'm probably doing something. I got an event on Wednesday. You hear me? Like it's just I'm
Right.
constantly like doing something. But I think that what I will say is I think if it is um if this is your first event, like I found my first event overwhelming. I found
Right.
the journey of growing through this overwhelming at times because there's so much that needs to be answered and there's so many questions that you don't get to you don't even realize are questions until you're there. Things that you need,
Right.
things that you don't know, things that and so those things I think if you're ever going to go through this journey, um, I implore you to go and fail. Because I think that's the best way to figure out what works for you. And that's not to say I don't know if there's a thing as failure. No, I think it's just
You learn.
harder lessons than easy. Yeah,
You learn.
this is a lesson. This is a lesson. If you were successful, you had a set of lessons. If you failed, you had a set of lessons, right? But they all improve for the next time. So yeah,
Yeah.
go and do that.
I'll talk about a little bit about my experience doing my first author event. I totally was overwhelmed, but not in a bad way, but I was
We talked
overwhelmed.
though. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was overwhelmed. But in the end, it turned out to be a good experience. Um, the next question is, how does it feel to go to these events and meet your supporters and fellow authors that you may have never met? How does that feel? Do you
You
feel
know,
there's
go ahead.
do you feel there's a lot of camaraderie with that? How is it?
The way I feel about it is, I feel like these are the guys I wish I would have went to high school with. You
Mm,
know what I mean? This is my crew. You know what I mean? Like everybody in here, the readers, the writers, whoever, we speak the same language. I went to what I mean? Like I didn't have to play varsity football. I could just been over here. You know
right,
what I'm saying? I
right.
could just been over here. This is where I want to be. And so I think that like those things, because what happens too is they're built on layers of trials that which you start to recognize this is what I am, you know, and then like unapologetically, this is what I am. Let me bump into other people who are that, and now we got a whole community. And so I think that's dope. I mean, because like, there's always been this stigma that black people don't read, right? But you go to one of these events, and it's just gonna prove you wrong. Just go to one.
Right.
You ain't got to go to. You just go to one event, and you'll talk to five people, and see whoever else is there.
Mhm.
You were wrong. You ain't like the end, and so yeah, my
Okay.
thought on it.
Okay. Because of the reader and author interactions that you have, and I know that all of the events you went to like were packed. They were all packed. So because of these interactions, once you get home and you start to decompress a little bit from, I guess, just the travel, do you feel creatively re-energized after being in that type of atmosphere? Hold on, say that again.
That's a great question. That's
Oh,
a great question. Wow. It's interesting. um, yes and no.
okay.
This is a real answer. This is some. Um, I think the no part of it is you're giving out a lot of energy, and I have a social battery, so I know for me, like, I have to recharge once I've put out a lot of social energy. That's just
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But the yes is, look at these humans. They are consuming this. Like, I can't let any of these people down. Thank you. Thank you 1,000 times. Thank you 5 million times. Are you serious right now? Like, that you fall in love on a level that is higher than intimacy, in a sense, because I don't know you, but I do, and
right.
you know me. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
different thing. It's a different vein. I can't say higher than intimate. It ain't gonna be. That was hyperbolic. Um, but it is a connection. And that connection. As a person who just doesn't want to let people down on some level, you want to especially people that invest in you, right? Like, you
Right.
don't you don't ever want to feel like you're giving them the short end of the stick. You just can't. No, at least that's my, what I'm saying, like, the way I carry it is like, so
Mm,
yeah, no, yeah, no. I loved it all.
yeah. Have you, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you ever had like a reader interaction and they say something as far as maybe a upcoming, just give you an idea, let me say that, give you an idea, like, I never thought about that. Maybe I'll implement that into XYZ story. Have you ever done that?
It hasn't been that.
Uh-huh.
There have been times where people have gotten actual answers to things that it's going to happen like this, and I was like, it had those
Mm,
things that happen. Like, how'd you know? And so
right, right,
that's
right.
like, well, like, and so it makes you refine your processes. Like, well, it's like I'm watching this show called Person of Interest right now with this character called Finch, and he can't ever like make the mistake twice. So it's like, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this in
Mm,
me. But no, I love it though, because I think that, like, even the fact that people are just sitting down that invested.
yeah, and
Wow.
thinking about it, right?
Like, what are we doing? Like, this is it. Man. Like, yeah, let's do more of that. So yeah, no, I think it's dope.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Is there a moment in particular that's happened this summer that stands out as a highlight for you? Because I know that you've done several panels this past summer. You travel from coast to coast. Is there anything that stands out, whether it be someone you met or food or just interactions with the locals or anything? What stands out to you?
Man, okay, this is gonna sound like this is my heart.
Okay.
The thing that stands out to me is making the relationships with each and every person. That is the people I still talk to. You know what I
Mm,
mean? The people who I talk to every now and then, the people I spend time with. I think those are the things that stand out to me is that like it's just like 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 thank you. Thank
mm,
you for your time. You mean like really, and it's cool, man, because this is a journey, right? So you and I've never been the person that needs to have an ego about myself to feel in any way. Like I love it. Like my mantra is I love this shit.
right.
You say you
Yeah.
know this. You say and so and I really do and I live it. You mean and so that's the truthful answer to the question, man. Meeting every single person, like I remember them. Like I said, these are the people I would have went to high school with. It's like, man, I met you at that locker. Remember that time I met you at that locker? This is
Mm,
that for me.
right.
And so I love it. Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's what stands out. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
Sidebar question.
hmm
Where was the best food?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so I got a couple of authors in here that, if you ever see this, you know, food and time are different things. Great time, different food. Because at the time, that was great food.
Okay.
Then I had great food, and it was like, well, so who had the best food? Best food.
Best food.
Best food. I mean, I'm gonna have to say it was Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee got some stuff going on over there.
Really? So
Yeah, I
you went
gained weight
to
in Tennessee. I'm still losing weight from Tennessee, so yeah, that'll be. I'm sorry.
no, go
I was
ahead.
where?
Nashville. You was in Nashville.
Yeah.
What did you
But
eat?
again, oh man. And there was a pizza joint that was owned by HBCU alumni called Slim and Huskies. I hadn't not having been in that area. I hadn't partaken in. But I love the name. In your mind, you think, okay, how many ways can you make pizza?
Hmm.
But they made it with hip hop names, so that was dope. And
Right.
it was good pizza. You know what I mean? And so there was that. The Nashville hot chicken is something that I had not like having traveled in multiple places internationally, whatever the case may be. That was unique because it was the first time I'd really recognized what that meant and what that was. I was like, oh, okay, this is what this is,
Uh-huh.
and they do it superb. So it's like everywhere else I could see why that wasn't it. You mean it's like like Chicago style pizza. You go to Chicago, you're like, okay,
Right.
it's different, right? So
Right.
yeah, yeah, um, that's what probably made it different. Yeah, that like there were a few, and there were different places like that. The palate was always activated, and it could be just from California. I know what to expect there. So some of that's unfair. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
it's like you grow up with some of it. You're not experienced to it. You just know where to go. And then I frequent Atlanta a lot, so like, I mean, over time, you know what I'm
right.
saying. So I kind of know what the food is. So Tennessee's probably the first region I hadn't really spent any time in. So that's probably why it stands out. The more I think about
Just curious. Just curious of what the best food is because when I go somewhere, I want to eat the local food. And I did go to Nashville a few years ago and I went to a place, I can't remember the name of it, but I sent you the name of the place. I can't remember the name of it. And I had their barbecue. and it was decent. I'm not too big of a carnivore, but I thought it was decent. I did like the sauce though. I like the sauce that they put on it. So, yeah. And I also think, I don't know if I said this earlier, but having the local food is a part to me when you travel somewhere, is a part of the experience of being there. You know, you have the local people, the local food, it's another conversation piece. And plus, I'm greedy. So, you know, that too. That too. Um, the next question I have for you is, do you know how many events you attended this past summer?
Um, yeah, I mean, I keep track of everything, right? So like yeah, I know. I mean, I know I was busy, but I know that like there were the bigger events, there were smaller events, there were just different.
Yeah.
And then to your point, there's the kid side, so there's a lot of stuff that I was just, I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a busy summer.
That actually brings me into my next question. Because you are constantly traveling from state to state and you have a catalog that spans more than just Norian love, how did you manage to efficiently travel with your catalog? What are
Oh,
some good tips that you can give that may work for someone else?
all right.
Let's start with
So we're
this.
just talking about the logistics, or go ahead.
The logistics. Let's start with this. How many titles do you normally carry with you on average?
So okay, so that's a okay, so this is where it becomes a this is a question of semantics, right? This is a question about like to me, I think the question is, you know, where am I in the journey? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because like I don't want to discredit some person who has um I'm gonna say that again. I don't want to discredit a person who may have just one or two titles, and think that this may not be an effective vehicle of growing your audience. You know, so it'll be daunting. And then there are people who have, 100 titles that they just can't carry them all. They got to carry what's popular, or
Hmm.
So the question is like, let's just say an average of a for this is more of a helpful resource if possible.
Hmm.
Let's just say you have an average of anywhere between 3 and 8 titles. If you're in the series, carry less of the back end of the series. If they're all standalones, you're probably good. And so it's kind of those things that you kind of have to work out for yourself. Because it's
Hmm.
all different. It's
Right.
all every state was different. Every journey, it's just all different. So I had a formula per se, but again, I would never want to say anything to discredit someone who may hear this that's new to this journey and think, well, I gotta get all the way here. No, you don't. You gotta be where you are, and then you walk here, or you walk wherever you're going. Not even
Hmm.
here, just wherever you're going. You know what I mean? So that's what
How did you travel with your titles?
I mean.
What do
Okay,
you
so
hold on, let me rephrase that question. What was the best way for you to travel with your titles that may help that you think may help someone else?
um, different things. And we talked about this a couple of times offline, but for this, I will say, sometimes it just depends on the event. It depends on what your options are. If you have the option to ship, that makes sense. You
Hmm.
know, pre-ship. If you're in the vicinity and you can get to the event on a local area, then just pack everything you got. If you are um, going to a further region, and you can't ship for whatever reason, or if you go into a closer region and it makes more sense, find encompassing airline deal that'll help you put some luggage on there. Because I'll tell you, like There are certain things you want to ship. There are certain things you want to like make sure you have with you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you always kind of want to have what you're going to take money for with you, right?
Right.
Whatever you're in,
Your
if you
payment
got to
processes.
land it,
Yeah.
whatever that is, you want to make sure that's with you because it don't make no sense you getting down there and you can't take nobody's money,
Right.
So keep that on your person, and there's certain things like that that you would probably, consider, but for the most part, you can ship everything. So I don't know.
So shipping it works for you, is what you're saying?
Well, so that's it's. I'm saying that is an option. Sometimes I ship, sometimes I pack luggage, sometimes, I had logistics where it made sense to where I could have this product delivered to a place that made sense. What you're really trying to do, right? Um, and this is just from the analytical side of before I became a writer. Um, what you're really trying to do is lower your production, your output costs. You want your overhead to be as low as possible. So whatever makes sense for you on paper, to have your overhead as low as possible, that's what you should do. That's the true answer to the question. That like
Mm-hmm.
for every region, forever, how close you are to the event, logistic wise, keep your
Right.
overhead as low as possible because whatever you sell, that becomes your profit. So if you're spending
Right.
high overhead, and you're making high profit, you're doing great, right? But if you're spending low overhead and you're making high profit, then you're doing phenomenal.
Right.
And so it's kind of like you gotta, and maybe, and what people don't realize sometimes is that the person who may have spent high overhead and made a high income may not have fared well as a person who spent lower
Lower.
overhead and
Mm-hmm.
had a marginal, return, because overall, dollar for dollar, it worked out better. You know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
you got to consider all those things, is my point.
Right. And also, I feel like it's trial and error.
That's all it
It's
is.
trial and error, and you really have to learn as you go to the events because, like I mentioned earlier, I went to my first event and I bought way too many books with me. But the upside to that was I was able to drive there. So it's not as if it wasn't as if I flew and I had to like check luggage and pay for it or I paid for shipping. I just put it in the car. So that was an upside to having all the surplus of inventory I had. So now I know the next time I go, okay, I don't need to bring all these titles. I don't need to bring all these books. So, yeah, to your point, you just have to figure out what works best for you as well. Um, but yeah, I had a lot of books left over. So
How many books did
it
you?
was
How many books did you like? Did you bring? Because I remember
how
we were
many books
talking
did
about
I
that, right?
bring? I
Yeah.
brought 120 books.
Books. A lot of books.
I
A lot
bought
of
like
books. Right?
yeah, because
Go.
like I said, it was my first time. I didn't know what to expect, and so I did what I thought I did what I thought what I was supposed to do, but I
Now I
learned
will
from
say
that.
this. Now I will say this. There
Hmm.
are events where that may be applicable.
Right.
We just, you just like it's all business, right?
Hmm.
So an event that may have every event has they have their own internal following, their own internal audience that'll and they know what they can do at capacity because they're a business, so they're trying to
Hmm.
make revenue off of it, and so they understand certain things, and so they so and with every business, there's some who are just starting, there's some who've been there for a minute, there's some, there's all these that already hit those walls, right? I had my head against that wall, and it's like this now, you know. And in reality, they actually have on some level different audiences,
Yeah.
and it's not even because they don't love books is just that, well, at this time, at this year, I'm normally on this side of the country and I'm not going to come over here because I got this other thing going. So I'll just go there because flights won't permit me to go. And then every now and then they say, you know what, man, I really, really want to go and just fly down there. So they may have a person that visits once a year or twice a year and loves it, but their core is from that region. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And vice versa, and vice. So looking at it on that scale, I think that you just have to do what fares for you. Like we were saying, like it's all trial and error. That's what we're
Yeah.
saying. Trial and error is going to be the name of this conversation because I mean you gotta try it. Like there is no one size fits all.
Right.
That's the biggest help I can do.
Right.
What works for you?
Right.
That's what you do it.
Mhm.
So
So piggybacking off of that, what would you say are the benefits to authors doing these types of events? You're going to meet your readers, you're going to meet other authors, you get to visit, a different city, a different state. What would you say are like the primary benefits to doing this?
I mean, you just named them. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
dream, right? Like that's the dream, being able to go from different states to meet different readers, to meet your peers and contemporaries, and go. That's the dream. Like I mean, it doesn't always necessarily look like the dream, if you will, but
Hmm.
that's it. That's the dream right there. To go and do that. If you could just do that forever, right? Like
Mm,
and not have to worry about bills, you do that.
right.
So that's the dream. You know what I mean? So that's the benefit of it. Just like you don't have to. Now I will say this. Um, talking to readers, talking to writers, listening to writers. Actually, this is that I think the coolest things on earth is talking to readers and listening to writers.
Hmm.
As a student of both, right? Like I think that um, talking to readers gives you a comprehensive insight on where they are in their own journey of this, and listening to writers. Every writer has like their Batman origin story. Like you figure out this, that's and you figure out, oh, that's how you became Bat. Oh, wow,
Right, right,
okay,
right.
dope. And so that is such a morsel of a conversation. Both of them are. You know what I mean? And so you just get to get fat off of just like listening to this stuff. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You taking it in because like for a person who just loves literature and just loves the spoken word and the written word and those things, you really you get immersed in it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Alrighty. My next question is, would you consider organizing your own author event?
Well,
Would you consider, not are you doing it? Would you consider doing it?
um, I consider it.
You'd
I,
consider it? You want to leave
I
it
would.
there?
I leave it there. I
Okay.
consider it.
I'm not
You
gonna push
know,
you.
um,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna push
yeah,
you. You want to
no,
say something else about it?
nope.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. Since you've been attending these events for years at this point, I feel like you have a good command on what to expect. You can kind of feel the vibe instantly when you get there, like, okay, it's going to be this type of event or whatever. I feel like you can just read the room because you've done it so much. You have a lot of experience. For anyone who is looking to do their own, put together their own event, or for organizers who are putting on events, what would you suggest they do to make the event like a clean and efficient experience for
Mm,
the readers and the authors?
mm. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm gonna tell you why.
Hmm.
Um, like this is definitely a myopic thing. Like it has to work for you. like to answer that question would be like saying this is the way that my brain processes
Mm,
order and structure, and you should do it like this. And you can't do there's so I've lived here long enough to know it's just different ways of getting there. You know what I
right,
mean? And so respectfully, um, I value what the question brings, but that I just don't know what I can add to it because again, I'm still a student and I
right,
see things every year where I'm like, oh my God, that's dope. And if they would put this with this or this, but but also I see why they can't do this and they can't do this and they can't, you know what I mean? They do this because that's what
right,
they do. And
right.
so forth and so forth and so forth. And it works for them, you know what I mean? And you gotta be able to let them be them,
I
because it's
see.
all working for the community because we not all the same. You know what I'm saying?
I
The
see.
people over here want that, and then sometimes those same people may want a little bit of this or a lot of that, but they want but they don't want that to be this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They wanna go to
No,
it's
I
like
get your answer.
okay,
I get your answer,
all
and
right.
I think you did
I hope
answer.
it comes across well,
No, no,
because I don't
no.
want to.
It does. You answered in a very smart way, and just giving insight to people do what they can where they are. You can't
That's it.
expect, if you have an expectation that you go somewhere and they're gonna roll out a red carpet for you because you Norian love, and you get there be like, well, where's my red carpet? Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not even that. It's like the carpet might be blue. You know what I mean? But I might
Right,
love red, and then like, oh man, it's holes and stuff. Man, the blue carpet.
right.
That's crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like that's crazy.
yeah,
So it's like, man, I don't know what it took for them to get that carpet at all.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
Like,
right. I
thank you
get
for
you.
getting.
Right. Thank you for even having a
Thank you for
carpet.
even. I'm here.
You know what I'm
Man, if you
saying?
don't have a carpet, man, thank you for even trying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, man, thank you because it's all we are just we are I've said this to you before. um the rapper needs the DJ and the DJ needs the radio and the radio it's all the
It
industry
all
needs
goes
all
together.
these pieces. You know what I'm saying? And the rapper needs a listener, and so and the listener needs it just it's like, you can't on the DJ, you can't on nobody, you know what I mean? Because it's like you need that,
Right.
you
I get
know?
exactly what you're
The
saying.
same fight.
I get you. I think you gave the perfect answer if I'm being honest. I think you gave the perfect answer.
So
Yeah.
respectfully, I love
Yeah,
it,
no,
man.
I
I
get
really
what
do.
you're saying. I wasn't trying to put you in a tight spot
No,
at
no, no, no,
all,
no, no. I
but
was just
yeah,
saying.
but I
No,
think
no,
that
no.
you no, I think that you answered that question perfectly. And also, I want to point out to your point that if you are going to these events as an author or as a reader, I think that it's important to go with a good attitude of appreciation, because these events that these organizers are putting on, they're not easy to do. It takes a lot, it takes a village. And I just think going there, being open to the experience, being appreciative that the authors showed up, and, just go there to have a good experience, just have that mindset. And that really does make a difference because, like you said, each spot is different, each organizer or each event is different. You don't really know what they had to go through to even get to a place where you could buy a ticket and show up,
Talking to
so
the vendor might have been tripping that day. You
yeah,
just
you
don't,
don't
you
know.
don't know
So
none of that. You
so I
say you
think,
just
yeah,
here and it's working, and you're mad about the fact that it's not working the way you want it to
yeah,
work. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't
right.
know.
So yeah, you answered that perfectly. I'll give you credit where credit is due. The last question I have for you in regards to this part of the discussion is, do you have any events booked for next year already? Ooh, why you make that face?
Because the answer to that question is I do. We're still in the early processes, so I don't
Right.
want to talk about. I'm still trying to figure out this and that, and
Oh
that,
no, no, no.
But yeah, I do have some cool stuff.
You have
It's been yeah. I like I said. Now I like it. I love. I ain't gonna say I, like, I love it. I love man. Like I love watching this thing be born. We're watching something special be born. Like the marriage between readers and writers, independent, dependent, whatever the case may be, like whatever it is, Black literature is thriving. To watch that in my lifetime,
mm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when the whole thing was that we don't read, and I'm watching it in my lifetime because I read, and now I get to see the people who were with me,
Right.
and I love that. Like that to me, it's like man, they come here. I don't care if you buy me. You bought somebody. You bought what you were
Right.
interested in.
Right. Right. And I'm
So,
just gonna let you off the hook a little bit and say that any events that you are attending next year will be listed on your site and on your social media pages. So if you're not following Norian, go ahead and follow him, so you can possibly meet him in the 2025. Okay. All right. So we're done with that part of the discussion. Oh, before we move on to the next part of the discussion, I need to bring up
mhm.
something interesting that happened this past summer in Charlotte that the people may not know. What's in the cup? Something happened in the cup?
Concept there. Just my.
The cup is empty. All right, no, but seriously, something interesting happened in Charlotte, and I'm gonna insert it right here so you all can see. But
Okay.
yeah, so my question is, and it ain't gotta be all whatever, but it's not even a question really, it's just a comment. We had an opportunity to meet one another this past summer in Charlotte at the Boozy Book Tour.
Shout
So
out to Boozy Books.
yeah, shout out to Boozy Books. So if we're being realistic, I'm quite sure that was the highlight of your summer.
Without question.
It had to
I
be.
mean, like, I found out Mufasa, the Lion King prequel was coming out, and
Uh-huh.
as a kid, that's probably one of the most provocative. That's the story I've ever wanted to know the most about, right? Because he was
Mhm.
such a badass in the language. Like that's here,
Right.
right? The Olympics happened, and Steph Curry went off on in the Olympics.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
excuse me, that's actually here,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then the fact I was doing any of these Black literature events is probably like here.
Yup.
You know what I'm
Yup. Yup.
saying?
Gotcha.
Like you
Gotcha.
like over here.
Oh,
It was like I can't. You ain't even on the scale.
it
Like I
had,
don't even know how to. It was
you can't even, you still looking for it, ain't you? You
still
still
right
looking
now.
for it.
Right now I don't. Yeah, I don't have my glasses. Oh wait, here we go. Glasses, right?
You gotta find it. Yeah, it's up
Yeah.
there.
It was up
It's
there. It
up
was up
there.
there. It was
It's
up
up
there.
there.
It's definitely no, but seriously, in all
Yeah,
seriousness, no. It
seriously.
was. It was so cool. Like I said, I love building community, and then like we've had a vibe since we met each other, so it's cool to like put you know this phone, these emails, whatever the case may be, they don't put you in touch with people. When you
Right.
get to actually meet people, that's cool,
Right.
and so because you just pick up where you left off at. You come in, you start okay, and I'm going to say it again, audience. These are the people I went to high school with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was cool, but I was just saying it was cool. I like attending events as a reader just as much as I only did one author event, but I like attending as a reader as well. And It was cool. It was cool. I went into the event. I wish I had more pictures or video, but I went into the event and I'm gonna tell you, when you go to an event and you meet Mr. Norian Love, he is working the room, okay? He is not, and this is good though. He's working the room. He was not even at his table when I went in. He's talking to other people. He's making connections, like he said. He's enjoying himself. So when I came in, I saw his table. I didn't even see him initially. So, but it was cool that we got an opportunity to meet. So hopefully in the future we'll have another opportunity to do that. And stemming from that meeting, through a course of events, I was able to get this is one of the shirts that I got, the lovely Queen shirt that I really like. And I had to represent because you're on the podcast today. And if you like this shirt and or want this shirt, I'll put the link in the description box where you could purchase it, and you can also follow Norian to see what other merchandise he has. But yeah, it was good to meet you. It's good to
It
meet
was good. It was
you.
good. It was good. It was really good to meet. Yeah, it was really cool. I thought that, like you said, I'm talking to everybody. I mean, we're all doing the same thing. We like words.
Hmm. Yeah,
So just, hey, wait, how you do it? Hey, you do it like that, So it's just,
yeah.
I don't concern myself with anything else but trying to have fun,
Yeah,
because
I could tell that I could tell that you were like in it, like you were in it. But yeah, I think next year we'll have an opportunity to cross paths again. So we'll see. We'll see.
we will, I'm sure.
All right. So we are going to move on to the next part of the podcast where we're going to talk about one of your aliases, TL Johnson. Can you tell us about T.L. Johnson, and the inspiration you have behind creating that?
But it's funny because inspiration. No, I think inspiration is, um, again, avid reader, but when I was a kid, there was nothing for me to read that looked like me, and so it's just like now I'm doing this thing. Why not tell the stories I want to hear when I was that age?
And let me insert this as well, that T.L. Johnson is an alias that you write children's books under.
Yeah, yeah. I write the anywhere from you know out the womb to about tweenish. You're gonna probably get on the tail Johnson side, which is fun. I have a lot of fun there.
So you wanted to write books that you wish you would have had when you were younger.
Yeah, boys, girls. I mean, I think that like we're still in the going back to the bigger hierarchy of literacy and Black literature specifically. We are still underserved.
Mm,
We don't have enough stories.
right.
There's 14 million of us and probably 14,000 stories. So that I mean, do the math on that. It just ain't enough. You know, like, and that's just here. We're not talking about globally. So and it's so interesting is that like you know people love our stories.
Hmm.
So there just aren't enough of them. I mean, we're the
Right.
original griots. You know what I'm saying? So tell them all. But what's happening right now is that at a detriment, we haven't been telling the stories that are maybe we need more of.
So, what I want to do, because when I was in Charlotte, I did pick up one of T.L. Johnson's books right here, The Superhero in You. This is a coloring book. It is a thick coloring book, and the animations, can I just open it a little bit? And
Do you
the
think?
animations, they're not animations, the drawings in here
Illustrated.
are so good, are so good. Look at that. They're so good. This is a quality, well-made coloring book. So what I want to do is I want to give away this copy of the coloring book. And in order for you to enter to win, very simply subscribe to this YouTube channel. Go to the TL Johnson IG page, which is linked in the description. Follow that page. And then after you do that, there is a giveaway post where you're just going to put entered. And that's how we're going to choose it. So the information will be in the description box. So like I said, get into this. This is only one of the coloring books. Well, I'll just pop up some of those titles on the screen so you can all see the books. And I think, I think they're cute. So I think they're cute. So good job on that. We're gonna move on. I didn't want to go too much into that, but I did want to give it a plug.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. So we are at the next part of the podcast where we are going to have a book discussion. And before we begin the book discussion, you have some explaining to do.
Yeah. What did I do?
I have 2 copies of this book. Now, I would like to give you an opportunity to explain why I have 2 copies of this book.
It was so good she decided to get it twice.
While I do agree that the book is great enough to read multiple times, that is not the complete truth of why I have 2 copies of this book here.
Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is it. Talking about the author events, right? It's overwhelming. We were talking about that. It was overwhelming. So there's a lot going on. It wasn't even at my table. You've seen all ladies and gentlemen of the court. What we have been doing is proving the case. You heard from the man's own words. It was overwhelming. You heard from the defense words. He wasn't at his table. He was engaged in it. There was a lot going on. So, in the purview of the court, at the time when I met Miss Montague, I was writing her name. And because of the overwhelming and all of the other things I may have or may not have, misspelled it just a little bit, but not literally just a little bit, because it's right there. Her name was spelled. It just had another letter or two. Just one. But that's what I'm saying. It was even one. And I know y'all thinking, well, how's that even possible? It was overwhelming. And to be fair, yeah. So that part. So because of that, I said, hey, don't let me make this right. Let me send you the proper, that was proactively done. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. So.
All right. Let me tell y'all what really happened after all of that.